Alright guys, good evening. It is Wednesday, January 25th, 2017. It is 5 p.m. New York time. And I just wanted to send out a quick update on the Kiwi, the New Zealand dollar. Now last night we were talking about potentially this being a turning point up, or a negative news on the Kiwi, and therefore a pair like the Euro Kiwi turning up and the Kiwi lead pair is going down. But of course, as you remember when we were discussing that, that of course it was very early. We're, you know, nearly 24 hours before the news, and so you always have to keep that in mind. And so the news did come out, and about 15 minutes ago here. I know how it came out, but I just want to refresh my screen here. So they were expecting 0.3 on the CPI. It came out at a better than expected 0.4. Okay, and again, that's their CPI quarter over quarter. All right, so the news was positive. So of course, when we see that, we saw the Kiwi immediately rally. So on the Euro Kiwi went down. Let's go down to a lower time frame here. We'll go to a 15-minute and make it look really dramatic. So here's where the news came out just in the last 15 minutes, and we've now dropped, and now we're kind of bottoming out a little bit. So if you see this move in the 15 minutes leading up to it, so this was between 4:30 and 4:45, we saw this spike up. And this is where it can get you, because you think, well, it's going up, it's an early reaction, but really what this was is a correction. And you basically had the large traders going up and tapping into liquidity pools, and then knowing that how the news was going to come out, and then they slam it down and they take out everybody's stops. So this move down, of course, was a reaction to the positive news on the Kiwi. And if we go over to the Kiwi dollar, of course, we'll see it go up here because the news was positive. So the Kiwi rallied, and you can see it here. So, and we had this in the opposite direction. This was a correction, and then it went up. Now, I am still going to hold to the fact that although I was early last night on predicting the turn, that this is still going to turn. So let's go back to the Euro Kiwi for a minute, and we'll zoom out a little bit here. So this is the 12-hour chart. This is making a trend, and it's about to end, a downtrend. If we take and we see how long wave 1 is, and again, it's a rule of thumb, it's not a hard fast rule, it doesn't have to follow this, but wave 1 and 5 typically are about the same size, especially if you get a long wave 3, which is typical. So here's wave 1 down to here, it's about 280 pips. Here's your wave 3, here's your wave 4 up, and this is the 5, and that's the labels I have on this now. So let's see how far wave 5 has gone. Down to this low at 263. So I would expect that we probably will see this pair drop about another 20 pips or so down to about the somewhere around the 140, 146.70 area. And then we will end the trend and begin to move back up. So I do believe this is the last push down on a wave 5, and then we'll see it turn. We go back to the Kiwi dollar. We zoom out here. Now this is a weekly chart, so of course this is a very long time frame here, but this whole thing looks like a trend going up here too, but it also could be very corrective because we see lots of red and green intermixed here. We don't see just steady red down like you see here. You've got intermixed red and green, red and green, red and green, and so this very well could be the end of a correction on the weekly chart, and we could see this head down. And of course, if the Kiwi does top out, that would indeed stand. This move right here to me looks like a leading diagonal. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we go up and correct, and then we turn down. So of course that's a weekly chart, like I said, so that's a very long time frame. I want to go back to that and measure the Fibonacci retracement here on this move back up. Let's go down to the daily, give us a little more breathing room. So we're between the 61 and 78 retracement level, but we're kind of hitting this wall here, so this could go up a little more back to the 78. So we don't exactly have confirmation there, but that's the way it looks. And let's see, the Kiwi Swiss out to the daily chart. Again, the Kiwi Swiss had this move down, and then we've kind of moved back up again here. Now this could be a trend, 1 2 3 4 5. Either way, I think this is coming to an end as well. So basically, guys, this move up, strengthening the Kiwi, I think is driven by this news, and but I don't think it's going to last very long. I mean, it may last through the Asian session tonight or into most of the Asian session, but I'm thinking that tomorrow into London that we will see the Kiwi reverse and start giving back a lot of these what it's done here. Now it's been a very resilient pair, much like the Aussie, but still it is suggestive of that these moves up were wave fives, whether they wave five of an ABC correction or just wave five of a trend. Either way, that would suggest a substantial move to the downside. If you watch my video from last night on the Kiwi Canadian, I was saying that this is the type of pattern you would have had to have seen in order to take a short, and of course we didn't see that. This was before the news came out. It made a small move up, but there was no corrective move that looked anything like this. So that would not have been a good indication of taking a short, and indeed it did go up. And although the Kiwi Canadian move up has been a lot more muted because of strength in the Canadian, so this move up is being muted a little bit compared to the other pairs. So alright, so I did want to just give you that update. Kiwi Yen also had a nice push up, similar to the other ones, but again the Kiwi Canadian was pretty muted. Let's see what the pound Kiwi did. I didn't even look at that, but yeah, so we had a nice move down here. And you know what, we've been looking at this thing as being an ending diagonal, and perhaps this is the beginning of that move down for the and you see what happens here when you connect these lows. It comes to this point right here where these two lines meet, and then it goes down. So I'm thinking that the pound Kiwi is going to keep going down, but maybe not necessarily driven by the Kiwi, but just by the pound. So that's a whole different thing, because it looks like the yellow pound pairs are still going up. So anyways, guys, just want to provide that update. I'm going to be looking at these tonight and deciding on my next strategy on the Kiwi, and but I want to just point it out, so just so you're aware that it is important that even though you're looking hours and hours in advance, that you look to see what the market does in the minutes basically leading up to the news. And if you see something like this, it's suggestive of a correction that will immediately be reversed when the news comes out. So when you see a candle like this just before the news comes out, you can pretty much assure, especially when it's on a low time frame like this, anything under 30 minutes, and it's moving rapidly, you can almost make bet that that's a fake out, and it's basically the large banks basically tapping in a liquidity pool because they know what the outcome is going to be, and the news comes out, and then they slam it the other way, and that's of course what they did. So if you were short here, you got taken out, I would assume, unless you have a really big stop loss. You got taken out on this, but like I said, the pattern was not complete, and so the Elliott wave pattern, which is the whole point here, was suggesting that looking at it last minute that it was going to go up again. But we still have divergence on the higher time frames. even though the market is making new highs. So I don't think this uptrend will be sustained much longer, and maybe even as early as tomorrow's London session, we may see this begin to reverse the other direction. So keep an eye out on that. Maybe we'll do another follow-up video and see where we're at tomorrow. All right, so that's it, guys. Have a great night. We'll talk to you all soon.